look like if we couldn't see one another? And for that matter, what would comparison look like if we couldn't see one another?
You're listening to Joey's Taxi, conversations from the seat of awareness. No fixin', no forcing, just shared presence. Let's ride.
Hello, and welcome back to Joey's Taxi. Today I would like to talk about a TV series that I'm rewatching on Apple TV. It's called See. It was initially released in 2019. It stars Jason Momoa. And essentially, for those who haven't seen the show, it's about a new civilization that lost their sight on Earth. There's some sort of a virus that went around and it wiped out most of Earth's population, leaving those and generations to come without the ability to see. And rewatching it has really inspired me to want to create an episode. It got me thinking, if we didn't have the ability to see, how would things be perceived? How would our life experiences be for those who have the gift of sight? I asked myself, am I really seeing in life, or am I just looking through the lens of my eyes? I also started thinking about specific aspects of my life and what they would look like, such as social media. I like to call it pixel media these days because at the end of the day, all we're looking at are pixels, little small beams of light coming through our eyes. These cluster of lights, of pixels coming at us, is all there is to it. It's just different colors of light coming together, forming images in our minds. So then, when it comes to pixel media, what would filters look like if we didn't have the gift of sight? Driving, war. How would we learn to read? Learning, walking. Creativity. I myself enjoy taking photos every now and then. How would I be able to take photos with my professional camera if I couldn't see through the viewfinder? Selfies. Who would be there to see the selfies? The filters that we layer on, the angles. Maybe some of us need to fix our hair, or we take a selfie, we don't like it, so we delete it, take another one. We have virtually unlimited memory in our phones and then the cloud. So yeah, how would selfies be interpreted? What would judgment look like if we couldn't see one another? And for that matter, what would comparison look like if we couldn't see one another? If we're in social media, or pixel media, and we couldn't see others, how would we judge ourselves? Others, how do we compare ourselves to them? For those who are trying to create a business and comparing yourself to others on pixel media who may have already established businesses and everything looks so perfect on their end. Well, there's a lot that is not being seen. There's an enormous amount of posts and content that is being filtered. And the algorithms of pixel media make that true to happen as well. A big one here is racism. If we couldn't see each other's skin colors, what would racism be like? Would it even exist at all? What about achievements? Competition? stress, overwhelm, suffering. A lot of my suffering has come through the input and sensory organ of my eyes. Seeing things out there and how they are. If we break down suffering, it is the difference between our reality, what is actually happening in our world, and then there is a disconnect to what we actually want to be happening. That's essentially suffering. If we couldn't see what's happening out there in the reality, how would we interpret suffering? Now, I'm relating all this to the TV series See on Apple TV, because these individuals were born without the gift of sight. I'm not referring to those who were born with sight and then eventually lose it. This is all relatable to the idea of what would all this be if we couldn't see any of it. What about beauty? What would beauty be like if we couldn't see the magazines, billboards, TV commercials? If we couldn't see models? Now, coming from a man's perspective, there has been so much input and programming since I was very little with the external stimuli of what beauty is, or what society says it should look like. And then I've come to learn, especially being involved in photography, that these models are typically not how they look like in real life. There has been an enormous amount of airbrushing, photoshopping, manipulation on the images to make them look the way they do. And then as a man or a young boy, I grew up thinking that this is what beauty is supposed to be like, and I'm going to go after this, and this is something that I want. And sure, I went through my experiences, and all of that led me to toxic relationships because I was going after or desiring women that looked a certain way. It was less about their personality and more about their looks. And then watching the show See, and all the work that I've been doing on myself through hypnotherapy, mindfulness, meditation, really beauty is something that comes from within. Beauty is the idea for me to be as mindful as I can be in my moment-to-moment experience. Also a definition of mindfulness. Being able to see the world, not look at the world, but see it through fresh eyes, fresh perspective, has enabled me to cherish beauty in everything and everybody. After all, we're all just doing the best we can on this earth based on the previous programming we received from our parents or caregivers, society, school. If we didn't have the gift of sight, what would desire look like? What would our holidays and vacations look like? The landscapes, the experiences. What would your loved ones look like? I remember when I first started dating my partner Anna, and in those beginning stages when we became comfortable with saying I love you to each other, it was more of a expectation on my side to say to someone that I cherish and care about that I love you. But there wasn't a whole lot of eye contact on my side. It was more of like in passing, I love you, and then look away. But I wasn't really there. I wasn't really seeing her. Same thing for my parents and the people I care about, my family. And now I realize that the gift of sight is that. It's a gift. Most of us are born with it and retain it. Maybe we have to throw on glasses or contact lenses. We'll get laser surgery to retain that vision. And some of us actually lose it or are born without it altogether. Circling back to the gift of vision, I am learning how to truly see my partner Anna, see her for the beauty that she is, the caring that she is, the support that she is. And being with Anna has allowed me to redefine what equilibrium is within my own life. A life without alcohol, without drugs, without toxic relationships, without pornography. Which has, in the past, consumed my life. Now when I see, it's not to judge, it's not to compare or compete. It's to love. It's to be kind. It's to be compassionate. And I can start with looking at myself in the mirror, being compassionate to myself. I'm 42 years young. I can see the wrinkles on my face, under my eyes. It's all part of the process of being a human being and aging. That's another gift, is the gift of aging. Some of us, because of the gift of sight, causes us to be conditioned to operate in autopilot, zombie mode as I like to call it. And walk through life in a conditioned mode. If our environment is not the way we want it to be, we get upset, we experience unpleasant emotions, we elect to experience ongoing suffering. A certain amount of suffering is normal to experience, but then when we extend that suffering, it's because of these subroutines that are operating in the backs of our minds and our blind spots. Until we step out of zombie mode and start seeing the earth. There's a movie I watched a couple of years ago on Netflix called Don't Look Up. It has a bunch of famous movie actors in it. And essentially in the movie there's a meteor coming to Earth, large enough to destroy it. So the idea is not to look up. Don't look up at the meteor flying through space on trajectory to Earth. But what if we did look up? look up from the scrolling, the desiring, the judging. If we put down these screens, looked up to see the beauty that surrounds us. The gift of sight, vision, can be decided on in two directions. One can be intentional, where we are intentional with what we're looking at, how we're interpreting that information or that experience. Are we being mindful if unpleasant sensations come up from what we're looking at or experiencing? Or are we in zombie mode and allowing these beliefs, these subroutines to run our lives, thus prolong suffering? Or are we using our gift of sight to escape? I do my best to be mindful when I'm watching TV. I do my best not to watch it if I feel like I'm going to want to escape some unpleasant sensations. In those moments, I will sit in meditation, allow myself to recognize what is happening in that moment, and allow for those sensations, thoughts, emotions to be present, giving it permission, non-resistance, which are the first two steps of RAIN, R-A-I-N. It's a mindful practice that was developed in the 1980s. Tara Brach, she's an amazing author, psychiatrist, and mindfulness teacher, has updated the way that this is implemented. Where we just focus on that foundation, recognize and allow during a meditation sit. But there are times I do want to escape while watching TV, such as these last couple of weeks. I felt very ill with some sort of a virus, a viral infection, and it's been over 2 weeks. I still have a lingering cough that will probably be there for another few more weeks. But I'm out of the trenches, if you want to call it that. So yes, there were times I wanted to watch TV to numb myself to a certain degree, but I was aware of it. That's the key, is that I'm aware of what I'm doing if I'm going to numb myself. But I'm also going to be cautious with what I numb myself with. So yes, are we using our eyes, our vision, for intentional reasons or escapism? The decision is up to us. Thank you all for tuning in to Joey's Taxi. I appreciate you. Enjoy your next moment, and looking forward to sharing next time. Take care. Bye.
Thanks for riding along. If you'd like to stay connected, follow the podcast and leave a mindful review. Until next time, stay in the seat.